So, apparently Cali makes cards skyrocket in price. That's interesting that you say skyrocket. Why? Because rockets were meant to take us to the moon, or rockets were meant to take us to outer space. What's the opposite of the moon? Sun. What's the opposite of space? Land. That means that the sun reflects on the land to grow. What else do? Grow. And every time that you watch Cali's videos, you grow as a person and become a stronger being. Now I have to ask you, is Cali the sun helping you grow to be a better person, or does he make cards skyrocket in price because he's mooning you? I'm not crazy, you're crazy. What's going on with ya, big dog? And it is Workout Wednesday. I hope that your Wednesday is phenomenal. But if it isn't, don't let what happened at the beginning of your day ruin the rest of your day. Today for Workout Wednesday, one thing I want to talk about is something that no one, and I mean not a lot of people do: calisthenics. Calisthenics are actually a really good exercise that has so many benefits, it's incredible. Whether it's getting faster, getting stronger, preventing an injury, or recovering from an injury, calisthenics has your back. Personally, I've been using calisthenics to become faster, and I gotta say, your boy is fast as fast. Just like how you probably should be picking up these cards fast as well before they skyrocket in price. These are the cards that I've been noticing players have been picking up and will be good in the future. But of course, if you are part of my Patreon as a special thanks for helping me pay my editors, then you got this information one day early. Now, without further ado, big dog, I won't waste any more of your time. Let's talk about those cards that you should buy before they skyrocket in price.
Cards skyrocket in price again!
Tell him to stop!
But he won't!
He's gonna get a pow-pow!
I think he might like that!
Oh.
The first card I want to talk to you about is a powerful Link 4 from Darkwing Blast. I mean, when I first read this card, I was like, it's phenomenal! Only to find out that this card was this cheap, like, oh boy! Yeah, this is a card you should have. World Sea Dragon Z-Lantis is a Link 4 monster that requires one effect monster to be able to summon. This means that you can steal your opponent's monsters like Access Code Talker and then link off to this card, or you can use a monster like Appaloosa Bull of the Goddess after you used all of its negation effects. The best thing about this card is that it can banish all monsters on the field and then special summon them back to both players' side of the field in face-up attack, face-up defense, or face-down defense position. Now, I know that that may not seem like much. You're just banishing cards and bring them right back, but there's actually a ton of cheeky interactions with this particular card. The first thing is that it does get rid of all monsters and bring them right back. So if you have a monster that says once per turn instead of
you can only use this card once per turn,
then you'll be able to use its effect again. If you use World Sea Dragon's effect to be able to banish and resummon, you actually won't be able to special summon any monsters that you are locked into because you're summoning the monsters.
How do you not think that this card is completely busted? Why do you not have this card, you bum?
World Sea Dragon Z-Lantis is only a $5 Yu-Gi-Oh card, which is fairly just because no one is playing it and no one is paying attention to it. But boy, if this card actually becomes really competitive in Yu-Gi-Oh in 2023, you are going to have a huge problem, as it is only a secret rare from Darkwing Blast. Another card that you should consider buying before it skyrockets in price is easily one of the most iconic cards in the game. Magic Cylinder allows you to not only negate a particular attack, it can inflict damage to your opponent, and no one ever sees it coming. They set me up to it. Look, if I genuinely made cards skyrocket in price, buy out Magic Cylinder. No, but in all seriousness, the iconic card that I was genuinely talking about is Raigeki. It's actually kind of crazy how in 2023, Raigeki is probably more powerful than ever, especially seeing that it is completely off the forbidden list, and not a lot of people have really noticed that. Raigeki is going to be extremely good against the new formidable Kashtira deck that will get its full support inside of the new set Photon Hypernova, and is a devastating card because the Kashtira strategy typically doesn't put monsters that will stop spells and traps, so being able to destroy their board before they can use their powerful Kashtira monsters to lock out all of your spell and trap or monster zones is going to be huge. But overall, Raigeki is an extremely slept on Yu-Gi-Oh card because Yu-Gi-Oh isn't what it was back in the day. It's actually more rare now than before to even have a card to be able to stop your opponent's spells and traps, but monsters are always prevalent and Raigeki can easily get rid of them. I also love that there are so many printings from Raigeki, from Ultras, Supers, Secrets, Ultimates. There are so many to choose from no matter what budget you're on. I still would start picking up my favorite copies of Raigeki if I were you though. Now, unlike Raigeki, this card does not have a ton of printings, and players have been looking at this card as it is a means to be able to get rid of your opponent's spell and trap cards without them disrupting you. Spiritualism made its debut in Labyrinth of Nightmare, my friends. Labyrinth of Nightmare! My guys, it is the 5th Yu-Gi-Oh set to have ever been made. Don't you question my boomer and how I know this, but seriously, this is a card that is old enough to drive, and next year will be old enough to drink. Imagine Spiritualism sitting right beside you and be like, yeah, let me take the vodka straight because I've had a long day. I got to get rid of some really problematic cards. But the reason why players have and probably always will be speculating Spiritualism is because right now it actually can get rid of a really important card that players love to protect in Runic Fountain. So I imagine Master Duel players are looking up what exact rarity of this card because it is an answer to some viable threats. Now, the only reason why I wouldn't put all of my eggs in this particular basket is because Spiritualism hands down looks like a Speed Duels reprint if I've ever seen one. But even so, this card seems like a low risk, high reward type card because it's so cheap. Even if it doesn't become expensive, you really didn't lose out on much. Moving back to modern Yu-Gi-Oh sets, I actually think that there are some gems in Darkwing Blast. We talked about how Red Cartesia the Virtuous is a card that you needed to pick up because of Photon Hypernova supporting this card, but there's actually some other cards that I think are incredible in here, and it's not exactly for what you think. Lady Labyrinth of the Silver Castle, also known as Mommy Milkers. My guy, have I told you about the Mommy Milkers merch? I'm no like fanatic or anything, but hypothetically, if there was a mommy that's milked, it would be Lady Labyrinth, right? I'm actually saying Lady Labyrinth of the Silver Castle is a card that you should pick up for multiple reasons. The first thing is that yes, Labyrinth does get support inside of the new Photon Hypernova set, but this card's actually generic. Lady Labyrinth of the Silver Castle can special summon herself to the side of the field when a set trap card is activated. It also can't be targeted or destroyed by your opponent's card effects when you have a set card, and then can set a normal trap card from your deck to your side of the field. My brother in Christ, where does that ever say Labyrinth? This card, at the very worst, is actually solid support for all trap-based Yu-Gi-Oh decks, and I think once trap-based Yu-Gi-Oh decks make a rise back into popularity, this will be a card that players might want to look for. It actually reminds me more of Lord of the Heavenly Prisons. It allows you to summon itself, get a card, and is a huge monster that trap-based decks can take advantage of. And lastly, if I had to pick an archetype, a deck that I think that is going to be really good because it was so heavily slept on are the Libromancer cards. Now, the Libromancer cards actually get support in Cyberstorm Access, but does get a little bit better with Amazing Defenders as well. The new Makonko Ritual Monster actually provides another layer of depth for the Libromancer cards, as this is a strategy that reminds me of Drytron and Talismandra, except no one paid attention to them. If there are particular Libromancer cards that I would pick up right now, it would easily be Libromancer Fire and Libromancer Geek Boy. These monsters allow themselves to be special summoned to the side of the field and can search you cards from your deck to your hand. And then there's the field spell in Libromancer Appearance, which is ridiculous, my guy. Ritual summoning as a field spell and a searcher, and Libromancer Doombroker. I wouldn't sleep on their relatively low prices because they are ultra rares, and players are starting to realize that hollow Yu-Gi-Oh cards for main sets are a little bit harder than what you would think they are to get. And that's all that I have for cards that you should buy before they skyrocket in price. Of course, make sure to do your own research, and if you find some cards that you think players should be picking up, let us know down below in the comment section, as it does help the entire community. I have always been a huge fan of not hoarding information and sharing it with as many people as possible, and if that's what you call making cards skyrocket in price, then I just might be it. If you want to see more amazing content, be sure to check out these videos, and I'll be sure to catch you on the next one.